Hello folks, and thanks for coming. I'm Michael Mullan Jensen, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about my experience with having solar panels on my house for the last year. The reason I'm doing it is I'm part of the sustainable energy community, and we have a stand here as well today at the Eco Fair, and just want to talk about how, since we're recommending solar panels and batteries to people, then this is the experience of my family. We're four. I have two teenage kids. There is quite a lot of energy being used, so you'll hear a bit more about what that means. We have 18 panels on our house and a 10 kilowatt battery. So sort of in real terms, when it's really high summer, we can have 5.5 kilowatt hour sort of capacity being output by the panels. So about 2.5 kettles being boiled at the same time, which is not too bad. Now, when you select to go for solar panels, you have to consider what kind of electricity rate that you are on. So this is the latest one that I have with my provider, Energia. So you'll see there's a couple of numbers, but the main important part is that most of the companies now will divide up their electricity rates into like a day rate, a night rate, and a peak rate. The night rates are the cheapest because in Ireland we're really good at generating very cheap energy at night when nobody uses it, which is a bit sad, but the day rate is expensive, and then peak rate is of course the most expensive, between 5 and 7. So everybody in society wants us to use less energy during peak rate, because that's when we're starting to burn our fossil fuels to kind of keep up demand on the grid. So that's the kind of scheme that we're under. Now you'll see I've chosen one for our family, which is called EV Drive, or sort of EV Smart Drive Plus. Now the funny thing is, we don't own an electrical vehicle, but you can still choose these electricity rates, because that's when you get the really cheap rates during the night. And because we have a battery in the house, we can load it up during the night and then use the battery during the day with the cheap energy. So not even having an EV doesn't preclude you from choosing the sort of the EV rates. So that's very important to remember. Now, this is data that I've got from my system. So if you are on a smart meter, which most people are now these days, you can go onto ESP Networks and download your usage data. And you can get, for every half hour since you got connected to your smart meter, will be available as a data file. So what I've done here is I've gone into one of the portals that help you look at your energy use and fed it in my data from ESP Networks. So remember that I talked about the night rate. So you can see here in the night rate, I'm buying a lot of energy. You can see that there, right? The big graphs going up. So the red bars are me buying from the grid. The green bars is when my panels are selling energy to the grid. Yeah. So obviously during the day from 7 or 8 until a bit late in the afternoon, I'm able to export stuff most of the year. Obviously when we get to winter time, then I will use most of that energy coming from the sun, and I won't be sending stuff back to the grid. And then you can see there are still some red bars here. I can't avoid, especially in the winter time, sometimes my battery runs out and there's no sun, so I will be buying a bit of energy from the grid. Now you can see here's the peak rate, right? So I'm doing quite well here on avoiding having to buy at peak rate. So my battery and the panels are really helping me coasting along during the day to avoid the expensive rates. So for a person that doesn't have panels and a battery, you would see much more high bars here of buying in from the grid. So this is just another way of looking at that. So this is what I've bought from the grid. So the dark blue would be nighttime when I bought, and then the light blue is when I bought stuff at day rate, and then sort of danger red stripe ones is the peak rates. So as I've said, as you can see, during the winter time, I do run out of my cheap energy, and I do have to buy some of this. But compared to the rest of the year, as you can see, right, I'm living off very, very cheap energy. To put it in percentage numbers, then 87% of what I buy from the grid is night rate. So I pay 8 or 9 cents per kilowatt hour, and the rest is then day rate or peak rate. And then, as you can see here, I'm sorry the legends has messed up a little bit, but this is what I've used myself in the blue part of the cheese here, and 62% I actually sell to the grid. So at the moment that's a good thing, because as you saw on the earlier slide, what we call the feed-in tariff, the FIT rate, is still very good. So at the moment with Energia, I can get 18.5 cents per kilowatt hour that I sell back to Energia. So if you look at this distribution, I buy very, very cheap at 8-9 cents, and I sell very, very expensively or high rate at 18.5 cents to Energia. That makes a lot of sense at the moment, right? These things might change, but that's the current market, right? Okay, so my advice is, first of all, when you start thinking about this, is that go and get your smart meter data. This is your first point of call, is get all that data downloaded, and then you can go into some various sites that will help you look at what you can do with it, because you need to understand your daily usage, and you need to understand how much of you use over, let's say, a year, right? Because that's kind of the yardstick that we use. So that's a very important part. At the moment, as I said, I'm very happy selling energy back to the grid. There are limitations there that you have to be aware of when you do your calculations. So you can earn 400 euros tax-free like that, or up to 800 if you're 2 people on your energy subscription. So for the moment, myself and my wife, our names are on the contract with the energy provider. So we can earn up to 800 euros in selling to the grid, which is fine for our needs. So I talk a lot about return on investment to people, and that will be like, most people will look at their budget and say, okay, but I want to be able to get my money back in 6 years, 8 years, whatever. The system I've chosen is, it's a heavy system, but it's because our house is it has west and east sided roofs, so there's 9 panels on each side. So I've probably paid a bit more for my installation, but I just wanted to be really covered. And as you could see earlier, right, I really am, like, I have a really good coverage with the battery and the panels during the day. But really, like, depending on your specific situation, you will have different wants and needs. I'm probably a little bit ideological as well, because I'm in the energy community, and I want to shift the load. I don't want us to use energy at peak times, because I don't want us to burn gas and oil to fulfill that need. But that's just me. Like, other people will go, I just want a good deal. And everybody's different, and there is still very good deals to get with this. So yeah, and you don't always need a battery depending on your circumstances. You can just go for some panels, and that could be a cheaper option, and it will still probably give you about 40% of your energy use, right, on average over the year. And that's a good proposition, right, depending on your circumstances. Right, so there's many of these orientation calculators. I've just put one on here, which can be used to go like, this is the orientation of my house, and I'm thinking of getting X amount of panels, and they will then tell you this is what you can expect in output over a year of how much kilowatt hours you will be generating. They're very good, they're very similar, so you don't have to use this one necessarily, this one from Claire Energy, but that one I like it, it's fairly simple, so it's good for me. Then the smart meter data, please go to ESB Networks. It takes a couple of minutes to set up your account, and then you have access to your data, and it's really, really helpful when you start looking at it. Then there's 2 great sites. One is called energypal.ie. So you feed your data, the data file that you just downloaded from ESB, you give that to Energypal, and you will get a total overview of which subscription would be best for you. And there's lots of details in there, but literally you can see it'll give you green, good prices, good value, and then down to red, terrible option for you, right? So that's really helpful. And then UCD made a site called Energy Cost Calculator, a little bit less easy to say, but it's actually very helpful because it does the same thing as Energypal, but it also breaks down your usage over the day and when you go into the peak areas or into the danger zones, and then there's a lot of tips about how to reduce your use. So that's a really good site as well, and it's made by UCD, so when you are using it, you're also helping them to understand what types of uses that we have in Ireland. So you're sort of part of helping with research as well. So that's it for now. So as you can hear, my experience is we've been very happy with this. We pay very, very little now for electricity. I feel we're also helping the grid in that sense, right? We're very self-sufficient. But obviously, if you're thinking about this, there are options here. As I said, we have providers here today, or that we can also later put you in contact with if you want. Go talk to a number of them, because it is a competitive market at the moment. Talk to your neighbors or your estate neighbors, people around you. If they're also thinking about it, you can group up, and it's very easy to get good discounts if the installers know that they can come and do several jobs at the same time. Definitely at this point it's the time to do it. If you do want help with looking at your usage and calculations, maybe not me personally, but I have some very good people in my energy committee as well who are very knowledgeable about this. And we have a WhatsApp group, so please get in touch with us. We'll be delighted to help with your journey into solar panels. Any questions before I finish my talk?
I'm just curious about the batteries.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit of an upfront cost and whatnot. Is there a lifespan, or known lifespan kind of on the batteries in terms of when you need to replace?
They guarantee 10 years. Yeah. So they'll last longer than that. Yeah. You will get 15, maybe 20 years out of a good quality, reputable battery. But you have to. The only thing with batteries is you have to just take into account that they will slightly reduce in efficiency over time. Like you'll get a gradual reduction of it. Again, unless you're like a factory or something like that where it's fine margins, you can probably live with it. But there will be a reduction in its efficiency over time. But I think the quality of it now it's very good. So you can at least get 15 years on it, I would say. Yeah.
It's a fantastic way to work with them. So
it's really good. And the funny thing is when I first realized myself, I don't need to own an EV to have an EV rate. And it's just one of those things like, why do nobody tell you this? Like, we're making so much energy during the night in Ireland, and why not soak it up at a very cheap price, right? I mean, but this is what we want to try and create awareness about. So yeah.
I was on the fence, and now I'm like.
Yeah. No. If you ask me, I'd say go for it, definitely. Yeah. If it suits your return on investment sort of envelope. If it's too expensive, then okay, don't do it. Like, don't push yourself. But if it's within your envelope, definitely, I recommend it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, folks.